Welcome to the Numerology and the Astrology for June 28th, 2020. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 20, and if you add the 2 and the 0 together, you get the number 2. The number 2 is a number of the mind, about looking at the duality of the mind and how the mind loves to separate and divide and to look at things from opposing sides. And the moment the mind tries to define anything, it will split it apart. And so that is part of the problem. It's like, I want to be right, so then the other side has to be wrong. And repeatedly you've heard me say that, what if everyone is actually right from their own bubble, from their own perspective? And so how do we step out of this negative mind and this critical mind, which is the number 2 today? And try to not let your mind make things up and go into an unproductive loop. There's a lot out there to fixate on that is negative, and while most of it is true, it is not helpful or conducive to promote a world of calmness and compassion. So there's a fine line between telling the truth and being very real and authentic, and also recognizing where your mind is splitting things and splitting things into duality, and choosing to find the similarities rather than the differences. So yeah, I know it's going to be difficult and negativity will continue, and I want you to take solace in the fact that if COVID-19 has taught us anything, it is that most jobs can be done remotely, and because of not driving, the pollution index has drastically dropped, and that is a good piece of information right now. And we can make a big change drastically to our environment if we just notice what is working and how it is helping not just our pocketbook, but also our planet. So use the mind constructively rather than allow it to run amok in the obvious and negative ways. Listen to your soul, not to your beliefs. Listen to the whispers of the divine, not to those that preach in order to get money out of you. So, once again, with this, negative mind or critical mind thing, I want us to learn to have the mind become the slave to the soul, not the other way around. And to really look at logically, constructively, actively what we need to do to heal this planet. And, a lot of my corporate executive owners of businesses are going, oh my gosh, I don't need this big building. I don't need to be paying all these huge utility expenses for an office. I can have remote offices. I can downsize tremendously. I can save a ton of money. And I think business is really going to go that way. It's going to really shift that way. And that shifts all of us because it gives us more time. Can you imagine what would happen if we didn't have to drive for an hour each way? Like, we would save 2 hours a day that you could be spending with your kids, or you could be exercising or doing something for yourself. And I think that, believe it or not, this is going to ultimately work in our favor rather than against us. And it's almost like Mother Nature was like, you guys are spinning your wheels and running amok and doing wasteful things that you don't need to be doing. And that might be great. So now we're using our mind in a way that says, how can we save money, save time, create more happiness for our people that work for us, and move forward? So, okay, astrology today. On Sunday, we are in the first quarter of the moon with the sun in Cancer and the moon in Libra, making it time to get moving on those projects and ideas started at summer solstice. Mars makes a minor harmony to Saturn early on Sunday, and that will give you the impetus to get moving early. Try to get those 10,000 steps in. That would be good. Obstacles are going to continue to impede your plans and projects. Expect many people to stress out and clash with things that they want to oppose. If we could channel that energy into constructive phases such as ambition, growth, spiritual awareness, exercise, we would be much better off. You might be feeling desperate to do something and change. Mars and Saturn sextile make you want to fall back into the tried and true places that are familiar, to be steady and thorough in your actions. You are responsible for your directions of your words and the impact they have on others. While you want to move, you do need to pace yourself. Rushing into the weekend warrior mode may not be what you want or need. It could also get you sick and injured. Do a walk on the beach rather than a 30-mile bike ride. Stop on a bench and sit, feel into the moment, anchor it into your psyche. Find the calmness in nature seeping into your bones and let it change you and invoke your best self to come out. My quote for today: listen to your soul, not your beliefs. Listen to the whispers of the divine, not those that preach in order to get money out of you. Once again, I keep hearing of a particular phenomena around the awareness of energies around people that they have never noticed before. Sometimes it's the dead. Sometimes they do not know what it is. It is as if a doorway opened and people are becoming much more aware of the various energies, dimensions, and other levels of existence. I agree that the veil has become very thin between our world and our dimension and other worlds and other dimensions. And I also believe that something not so great is about to happen. And while I have my suppositions and ideas what that might be, I also know that when you are in a realm of darkness and chaos, what manifests might be anything. So I keep putting my ideas to the side and I wait for the universe to find the clarity that it needs. But what is clear is that I feel that many of the dead are surrounding people and putting them in a bubble of energy in order to protect them. I see it happening so much that now it has become the norm. I had never seen it like this until about a year and a half ago, and I know it means something important. When the dead feel it necessary to use their energy and ancestral lineage to stabilize the living, that tells me that tells me it's not one of the best of signs. The Mayan, the Tibetan, and the Hopi calendars all have pointed to something similar, a thinning of the veil between our dimensions and other ones. This is happening, and I see and feel it more and more every day. What I know is that there is a degree of protection and support happening for all of us, and we should acknowledge and use it, because I think we're going to need it. Thanks, everybody. You have a good day. Sorry this is a little late.